Hello everybody, Chocolate Guy here, and welcome back to my list of the top 5 worst and best SpongeBob Season 4 episodes. In this video, I will be discussing my number 2 worst and best episode picks. If you haven't seen the previous parts of this list, I suggest you do first. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos similar to this in the future. Also, comment down below on what you thought of the episodes in this video, and what you think will be in the honorable mentions, and what tops these lists, along with what your own list would be. Comments help spread this channel around, so any engagement will be very helpful and appreciated. Lastly, links to other videos on this channel, along with the other parts in this series, and the music I used in this video will be in the description below. And with all that said, let's jump right back into the list. I can sum up why this episode is terrible in one word: cringy. This is just a really cringy episode that I have a hard time sitting through. Well, the concept of this episode involving SpongeBob breaking a spatula and needing a new one, which leads to wacky shenanigans, isn't a bad one per se, but the way the episode goes about it is all wrong. All the stuff involving SpongeBob breaking a spatula and being sad he did this takes too long to get through and isn't very funny to watch. None of these jokes make me laugh. Then we get this long drawn out scene of SpongeBob buying the spatula, which just serves to fill time, and then the episode is just a bunch of French people are snooty jokes, which the show has made before and in more creative ways. There's just nothing here that's funny or engaging. And then the spatula leaves. This is a truly unremarkable episode that takes too long to get going and has nothing to really offer once it does. All of this makes it a pretty lackluster or even bad episode, but what pushes it over the edge to make it a terrible one and one of the worst is what I failed to already mention, that in between all of this, there's a lot of crying and SpongeBob being naked. This is what the episode has to offer. Scenes of SpongeBob crying obnoxiously that go on for a very long amount of time. Now, this wouldn't be too bad if the crying was limited to one small scene that was used as a joke, or the writing was better, or it was just less annoying, but this episode doesn't do that. There are these overly long scenes at the beginning and the end of the episode of SpongeBob obnoxiously crying, and it's dragged out and overplayed so much to the point where it's supposed to be funny, but it's just one of the most annoying things, and it's hard to sit through. SpongeBob excessively crying and laughing can be very annoying when used poorly, but this has got to be one of the absolute worst examples of the crying aspect. It turns what was a bad episode into a near unwatchable one, and yeah, while the opening to this episode is pretty bad, the ending of him just rolling around naked and crying while this nothing of an episode tries to shoehorn in a random message by SpongeBob just staring at the camera telling it to us, because the episode is so incompetent that it can't convey its message just through, I don't know, showing us, or it thinks we're so stupid that we can't figure its message out, or through the actual story of the episode. No, it has to tell you because the episode is so incompetent. It's just so dumb and cringy, and it leads to one of the most incoherent messes of an episode. But for how bad this one is, even if it has very little substance and is unbearable to watch at points, while treating its audience like they're stupid, there is still one episode I enjoy watching less. Now Now this is not only a great episode, but an amazing special. SpongeBob has always struggled with specials, even in Season 3, where all 3 specials came up in my worst list video. So it's great to see that this season, past the first movie, we get one of the best specials of the show that blows all of Season 3's out of the water. It's an episode that tells an epic story using the slower pacing that Season 4 has in a lot of its episodes to its advantage, but also using the story of the SpongeBob characters in this medieval time period to tell so many jokes. This episode is just simply the whole package. Every scene is great. Every character is used well. The story is actually really good. And I love the twists and turns it takes. Even if it's not the most complex, it's still a bigger story that perfectly fits the 22-minute mark, always knowing the right point to tell jokes and the right time to take itself a teeny bit more seriously. But the best thing is just how funny the episode is. Every joke works, and the episode has a lot to offer because of that. There's just so many jokes in any individual scene, from Squilliam's song all the way to the different jokes they tell as they break into this tower. There are too many to count. The atmosphere and the music are also just incredible, and really put you in the right mood for any given scene. This is just a phenomenal episode that used its concept so well and uses Season 4's strengths to create an absolute blast of a time. There's not really much else I have to say that hasn't already been said. Most people love this episode, and it's considered to be the best by many. This episode just does everything correct that most specials do wrong, and is great for that reason. There's no point in getting into details about the story and jokes, because most of you have seen this and love it just as much as I do, maybe even more. I could definitely see a lot of you putting it at number 1. And for the people who haven't seen this, out of everything on this list, I would suggest you watch this episode the most, because it is truly something special, and something that I think could appeal to a much larger audience than SpongeBob usually appeals to, because it's just so much fun in a very different way than other SpongeBob episodes, with how it tells its story in the medieval times, and incorporates a lot of SpongeBob's best elements to create something great. What does keep it from being number 1, however, is that this episode can be a little repetitive with some jokes and ideas at points. It's a very minor problem, but it was just enough to keep it off of the number 1 spot with a really close competitor, which did end up landing there. But this is still a fantastic one, and one I love quite a lot. And once again, this is one of the best SpongeBob specials. But there is still one episode of this season that is better.